the divisional round matchup. Are you ready for this on the AFC?
I'm ready for it.
We're going to do the exact same podcast over on Chi-Town and Charm City. It's our newest podcast that I have with a Bears friend, a Bears fan who is a friend of mine. There we go.
Bears friend. Yep.
And we're going to have the NFC preview, but Flock Squawk gets the AFC preview. So we're going to be previewing all the AFC games, starting with the Cincinnati Bengals traveling to a well-rested Tennessee Titans team. They've been hanging out in Nashville for the past week. They didn't get to play. They got the number 1 overall seed at 12-5. They're going to be playing Saturday at 4:30 Eastern time. Nuggets to know for the game. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are fucking electric together. We've talked about it on this pod, but I want to just bring some numbers in to illuminate this point. When Joe Burrow has a passer rating over 100, Cincinnati is 9-2. When Jamar Chase has over 100 receiving yards, Cincinnati's 5-1. This is the matchup that the Titans have to somehow mitigate. I think that's fair to say, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. If they limit the big play, like you said, Cincinnati has trouble in the red zone. If they can limit the big play and their red zone offense isn't as good, and I think Tennessee has the defense. I mean, Tennessee's had a good defense for a while, and I think they have the players to, limit that big play ability.
So their defense is kind of interesting. So their pass defense against wide receivers this year is pretty bad. They're 31st in receptions, 31st in yards allowed, 28th and tied for 28th for touchdowns allowed. And then they had 20-plus yard pass plays. They were 27th in the league. Against tight ends, though, it's kind of a different story. It's like almost a complete flip. So 6th in receptions allowed, 5th in yards allowed, and they're tied for 3rd for touchdowns allowed for tight ends, which means CJ Uzomah is probably not going to be a huge factor in this game. But it does. With the Bengals, he doesn't need to be. He's not the primary target anyway. I don't know. What do you think of that? Like, it's just funny how they don't seem to have it together with the wide receivers, but with the tight ends, they do a really good job of mitigating that. So, and CJ Uzomah has been hot, but maybe that's something they can exploit. Maybe get an interception or something off of a short pass to a tight end. Maybe a guy jumps a route. Who knows? If Jamar Chase is out there, I don't know if the secondary can keep up with him. He's amazing.
I look at the Titans' first game after they lost Henry and the way they dominated the Rams offense with their defense. Cooper Kupp, Tyler Higbee at tight end. You have, I don't know if it was Robert Woods at that point or if it was Odell Beckham at that point. 2 big play guys in the wide receiver core, and then you have a big play guy in the tight end core. And they beat the Rams, and we know how good the Rams offense is. I would say the Rams offense is better than, I would take at this point, I would take 13-year vet Matt Stafford with Odell Beckham and Cooper Kupp over, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. But that's just because they have more experience, not that, they're more talented or anything like that, but just because they have more experience. So I think the Titans have a shot at limiting them because they've done it to other teams before.
It's an interesting statistic, I guess, if you're playing fantasy.
Yeah, maybe.
Right?
Yeah, maybe
if you're playing fantasy, maybe you rest. If you have CJ Uzomah on your team, you want to see something athletic. I'm going to keep my head in the frame as I said before.
Use the foot.
Nailed it. That's an Olympic event. Anyway, sorry about that. I just wanted to shut the door. I was getting a lot of. It just looks weird out there.
Yeah. That is interesting, though. So does that mean that their middle linebackers and their safeties are really good in coverage, covering the middle of the field, tight ends, and then their outside corners are just not as good? I think that's been a problem with the Titans historically, right? I think that their corners haven't really gotten the production out of those guys that they want. And it's been the one weakness in this team. It was certainly a weakness for them last year. Mm-hmm. I feel like they couldn't defend the pass to save their fucking lives last year. And it's been a little bit better this year, but it's just interesting to see that receiving group with tight ends, it's like, you're just not going to get anything going there. Again, I don't think that they need it. And there is a mismatch, I guess, with the Bengals. The Bengals offensive line isn't good still. But like what we talked about with Joe Burrow, he's just adjusted to it. He gets the ball out quicker now.
He's adjusted to the NFL speed, and I don't think that that's going to be a big deal. Tennessee's front is really good, though. I've got some stats on some guys. Harold Landry, he's got 12 sacks this year, 14 tackles for loss, 22 quarterback hits. Danico Autry, 9 sacks, 18 quarterback hits, 10 tackles for loss. Bud Dupree has had 2 sacks in his last 4 starts. They can get after you. He's got to be careful back there. He's going to have to get the ball out a lot quicker than he normally would, maybe, because I think Tennessee's pass rush, I think they can make something happen. They got a guy who's definitely got 12 sacks on their team. I mean, that's not too bad. That's not too shabby. But the big question here is Derrick Henry. What do you give the Titans winning this game if Derrick Henry is 80%?
I think 80% Derrick Henry is still one of the best running backs in the league. He's definitely playing, I think, right? I don't think there's a question about that.
Yeah.
He's a freak of nature, man. I think he's going to be ready, full steam. I expect Derrick Henry to be, workhorse, and they're going to use him like they always do. I think it's bad news for the Cincinnati defensive line and linebackers and safeties, because you have a running back that's the size of a defensive lineman running 4-4. They're running like a deer down the middle of the field. There's no way a safety or a cornerback, the odds of them stopping him are very slim when he breaks out like that. He's so freaking fast.
Aliens wanting to invade our planet. You have to have a collection of individuals to sort of set the tone for what the human race is like. I'd have Brock Lesnar. I'd have Derrick Henry to meet the aliens. And then I'd probably have a bunch of smart people who aren't necessarily huge, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there to show that you don't want to fuck with us. Because we are free. We got some freaks of nature.
We got some freaks in. Yeah, that's right.
It's not like on the flip side, the Bengals run the ball all that great. Like I said, Joe Mixon hasn't really had a great game till week 12. Derrick Henry at 80%, I think, gives the Titans a legitimate shot. And also, we were talking about the Cincinnati linebackers. A lot of those guys got hurt last week. Mark Davis got hurt. Larry Ogunjobi is on the IR. He's been a good free agent pickup for them. And Trey Hendrickson went out with the concussion.
Oh, shoot, yeah.
So they don't know if he's going to be good to go. If those guys aren't in the front, who's going to be there to block Derrick Henry if he runs right down your throat, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to break into the secondary, probably.
Yeah.
He'd do that anyway. It doesn't fucking matter who's out there, but it doesn't help that those 3 aren't out there, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. When your linebackers are hurt, you don't want to be playing Derrick Henry because you need your linebackers.
Yeah, right. And all the wide receivers are healthy. So,
AJ Brown.
AJ Brown is healthy. Julio's healthy. Westbrook-Ikhine is going to be out there, and then they've got that guy Ferkser. They got him out there catching balls for Ryan Tannehill. So they've got this is the best chance the Titans have of getting to an AFC Championship game.
I think the Titans have a legit chance of winning. They're home.
They've got a great red zone defense. The Titans do. So they're in points per game in general, it's 15th in the league. But on third down, it's 8th in the league. In red zone, they've been 5th in covering. So they can cover you on third down and the red zone, which are 2 things that the Bengals are really bad at. So I think that plays a factor. The Titans defense is penalty prone. And the special teams, it's not great. I mean, the special teams has been kind of wonky this year for Tennessee. So with all that in mind, I've got 28-21 Tennessee Titans winning this game. I don't think it's weird because when the Titans are being covered on all these major networks, there's half of the people are you guys are severely underestimating the Titans. They're going to go on a run this year. They're unbelievable. And then you have others who are the Chiefs and the Bills are way better. They've got the powerhouse of an offense. The Titans are getting lost in the mix somewhere as the number 1 seed. That seems crazy, right? I mean, they were the most consistent team all year. They've beaten the Chiefs. They've beaten the Bills. I don't know what's up with the Titans' disrespect per se. Without Derrick Henry, they went 6-3.
Yeah, that was surprising.
And the Bengals, they're not invincible. They're not they don't have the most dynamic offense. Like I said, they're not going to score 7 touchdowns in a row. And I don't think Tennessee is necessarily either, but if Tennessee can limit them and have Derrick Henry run down their throat and mix in some of these other guys that have been running for him, who've been, they've been all right when their names are called, but they're not Derrick Henry. Here's another stat for you. Mike Vrabel, when he's given longer than a week to prepare for a team, so in this case, it's because he had the bye, he's 8-0 in his career. He's never lost. If I'm a gambling man, real quick, Ryan Tannehill runs for a rushing touchdown this game, right?
So he has 7 touchdowns this year?
Yeah.
7 rushing touchdowns? They use Ryan Tannehill in the red zone as a runner a lot, especially when you have Derrick Henry back there distracting.
I fucking hate his touchdown thing. He when he jumps in the air and he flips the ball and his legs kick out. When he does that, he looks like a leprechaun who found his pot of gold and he's stoked about it. And I don't think that personality should be in the NFL. I hate when he scores. Lamar will flip. Some guys are real casual, they just stick their arm out. They look cool doing it. When Tannehill scores a touchdown, something inside me, there's a neuron that fires that's just God, I want to take this guy out. I really want to just take him out with a good tackle. I don't know. That's just me.
Not a fan of the TD celebration, huh? Not a fan of the signature TD. Isn't that what Latavius Tomlinson did?
Latavius Tomlinson was more of he would score and then he would stand and do it. So he jumps in the air he's fucking Mario. It pisses me off every time I see it. I'm just I don't like this. He should be on the Nickelodeon broadcast every Tennessee Titans game because I bet they could make awesome visuals with him. Explode whatever, the slime or something like that. I don't know. He'd be great for that.
I got Tennessee winning as well. I just think, the highs and lows of the team throughout the season, sometimes the Bengals just don't show up for whatever reason. After blowing us out, they lose to the Jets. They lose to the Browns 40-10 or something like that. So the lows for the Bengals are, way lower than I know the Tennessee Titans lost to the Jets as well, but they didn't have AJ Brown or Julio Jones. Tennessee is a well-balanced team. They're home and they had a bye and they're getting their best player back. I'll be very surprised if Cincinnati goes in there and takes the win because I just think they have everything going against them. And that I think not against it. I think Tennessee has everything going for them with everybody coming back, the bye, and just how well they've been playing. I mean, they went, like you said, they went 6-3 without Derrick Henry. My score, 28-21 is a good one. I was thinking that one, but I'm going to do a little different just because you said it. So I'm going to say 24-20.
Yeah, it seems about right. Seems like a good scoring game. It's in Nashville. It's going to be 36 degrees. So cold, but not the end of the world. Here's what the ESPN has. For their matchup predictor, 59.5% favor the Titans. The spread is -3.5 for the Titans. The over-under set at 47.5. So it seems like everybody's on the same page with this. But again, be careful with the Bengals in that secondary. If they're in the red zone, they're not very dangerous. But watch out for these plays where they're at their own 20 or 30 yard line and they find Jamar Chase and he gashes you. Yeah. This is it's coming from a Ravens fan. You're going to have to figure out a way to stop it. So,
yeah, those big plays. Limit those big plays and you can win.
Right. I guess that's the name of the game for this one. I just hope that they have the guys to do it. Okay, here we go. We're moving on to the next one. I'm so excited for this. Buffalo at Kansas City, Sunday, 6:30.
We gotta wait till Sunday.
I know this NFL schedule. It's weird having football on Saturday too, because you always think of college football, but I just love the way they've stretched it out. It gives some intrigue and it gives some time for teams to think about who they got to prep for the next week.
Yeah.
And it's so entertaining to watch. They have us hooked all weekend, Chad. Those fuckers, they figured it out.
And they gave us a Monday night game too.
Yeah, right. So
my wife was pissed.
Who'd have thought that a multi-billion-dollar industry would have figured something like that out? Who'd have thought? They played this year. So they played back in week 5. The Bills beat them 38-20, but that was during is Mahomes in a slump? Is Mahomes declining weird mid-season? People were doubting the Chiefs phase, right?
Yeah.
That made them 2-3 when they lost. So they were right in the middle of that quote unquote like spiral. It was such a silly story, but
yeah, they started out what 2-5 or something like that. Chiefs
2-4,
2-4 or something like that.
maybe. Yeah, here,
Yeah.
let me double check that because I want to be right on that one. So when they played the Bills, they dropped to 2-3, 3-3. I mean, they started the season 3-4.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And this was when they went 2-3. So this was when people were starting to question like what's going on with this team? Like, why are they all wonky?
Who was home?
The Chiefs were home.
Okay. So the Bills beat them. The Bills beat them on the road. Okay.
Yeah, beat him by 18 too.
Mhm.
Josh Allen was insane. He went 15 for 26, 315 yards, 3 touchdown passes, no interceptions. And then he ran for a touchdown. He had 59 yards on the ground. So Josh Allen just completely gashed them. But it still feels like a shootout. That seems like so long ago. These teams are totally different. You know, like the Bills have finally figured out how to start quickly because they were having that problem early in the season. They weren't getting off to fast starts. I think they figured out that little kink. But the Chiefs are spreading the ball around. Patrick Mahomes, he's been spreading the ball around to all of these different receivers. In the wild card round, McCole Hardman had 43 yards on 4 catches. Demarcus Robinson had 4 catches for 76 yards. Brian Pringle caught 2 touchdown passes. These are guys who are not Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
You know, like these are guys that are a little further in the depth chart for them, and they're balling out. All of them are. Mahomes just makes you look better, right? Or is there some validity like, hey, you know, these guys have always been this good. It's just their offense was a little clunky at the beginning of the season.
Yeah. It's also, I mean, when you have Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce pulling double teams most of the game,
true.
You got these other guys that are have one-on-one coverage. So Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce aren't open. I mean, if they have 2 guys on them, they're going to throw it to the guys that are wide open.
And it's not to say that, like, I think that Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce aren't getting their catches, right? I mean, Travis Kelce
they still
had 108 yards. Tyreek Hill, 5 catches for 57, and I think he had a touchdown too.
Yep.
It's not like it's just he's getting more people in the mix, and that's nothing but good for Kansas City. Their offense is clicking at the right time, and it's not a good sign for Buffalo. But at the same time, the Bills' defense hasn't been too shabby in their secondary this year. They've got guys like Levi Wallace and Taron Johnson and Dane Jackson, and they've all played pretty solid in their secondary. They have Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, obviously, in the secondary as well, and they've been playing lights out. Micah Hyde, we talked earlier about the interception he had with Mac Jones. I mean, that thing was just fucking unbelievable.
Yeah.
Do you think that the secondary has a chance to keep up with these guys?
Did it earlier in the year. Now, obviously, New England's offense can't compare to Kansas City's offense, but they have a quarterback that is very efficient. Guys get open, they make plays, and they were able to limit that. The safeties each have 5 interceptions.
They ranked top 6 in receptions allowed, yards allowed, and touchdowns allowed to tight ends this year. So that's a bad sign for Travis Kelce, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I guess they credit
Kelce's
Kelsey's
matchup proof, though, in my opinion.
Well, and at the same time, like how many of those guys, like you were saying, you know, how many of those, you know, Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill demand double teams every single game, and you have to be able to account for that. And the Chiefs, with Andy Reid running the show, they just have all these bags of tricks that they can pull out on you when they can score pretty much whenever they want off of it. I think that the Buffalo secondary is capable of giving them problems, but they have to be on their A game, you know, and they have to force an interception. This game has to change hands at some point, because otherwise you're just going to get a shootout. I really think this one has a chance of getting out of hand, but it's not like the Chiefs secondary is bad either. Like the Honey Badgers back there, they're the same fucking team, Chad. I know exactly. They don't run the ball very well, but when they do, it's good.
Yeah.
The secondaries are good. Like they're the same team. It's just insane.
When it comes to the quarterbacks, is you got the rushing ability of Josh Allen. Patrick Mahomes doesn't have the rushing ability, but he doesn't need it. He is just on a whole nother level when it comes to quarterbacking. So
I think Mahomes, when he runs, is pretty smart. He's
smart with it. I'm just saying, but they don't run design runs like they run with Josh Allen. Josh Allen if they're in the red zone, they might run a QB option to the outside like they would with Lamar in our offense. So that's the only wrinkle.
Name a Chiefs player, and I'll try and match them.
Okay.
With the Bills.
Tyreek Hill.
Stephon Diggs.
Travis Kelce.
Dawson Knox.
Yeah.
Dawson Knox is balling out, dude. He's legit. I think real quick on Dawson Knox, 5 catches, 89 yards, 2 touchdowns against New England.
Mecole Hardman.
Isaiah McKenzie, probably, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'd say that.
No. Yeah. No, I mean, they're very similar.
Even with him running the ball, Chad, last week he didn't get hit. He got hit once, no sacks, right?
Yeah.
You look at Lamar on the flip side of that is like he'll have 5 or 6 sacks a game, and it's because he's trying to scramble and get out and go places.
Yeah.
Josh Allen kind of does the same thing. It's a different type of mobility, I guess, right? Like Lamar has this lateral, wiggle that he can do, and Josh Allen has a little bit of that, but he's 265 fucking pounds, dude. How much wiggle can you have when you're built like an oak tree, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. It's not to say that Kansas City's pass rush isn't bad. They got Chris Jones. He had 9 sacks this year. I got 31-28, and I got Buffalo winning. I think this is Josh Allen's year. I think he goes back to the AFC Championship game. It's his best shot at a Super Bowl, really, just with the way the seedings worked out. You take your lumps now in the divisional round against Kansas City. I don't know if Tennessee necessarily has the tools to keep up with them, even if they win. And the Bengals, I don't know if they do either. I just feel like Josh Allen takes advantage of it. It's master versus the apprentice. So Sean McDermott is from the Andy Reid coaching tree. That'll be very interesting. It's always interesting. But you can't. Patrick Mahomes always makes me.
Yeah.
These motherfuckers, man. These guys who are just awesome at playing football. It's so hard to bet against them, right? I can't rule them out.
Oh, you have me second guessing my decision here, Ben.
What were you gonna say?
I'm gonna stick with it. I'm saying Chiefs win. But
you wouldn't be wrong. It's not like that's ridiculous.
No, it's
They're
not.
home.
But the Bills, 7 touchdowns.
The Chiefs had 6 in a row.
Yes. Well, yeah, but
right?
I'm gonna stick with the Chiefs. I think the winner of this game makes it to the Super Bowl. I don't think Tennessee, who I think is gonna win, is gonna be able to beat either one of these. And if Cincinnati does pull it off, they don't have the defense to stop either one of these teams.
So you got the Chiefs.
I got the Chiefs. Score. I mean, yeah, it's going to be a high scoring game, I think. I'm going to say 34-30 Chiefs.
So here's what ESPN has. And I think ESPN echoes your sentiment. I think they think you're right on that. The matchup predictor, 52.1% in favor of Buffalo. So it's a coin flip.
Yeah,
right?
coin flip, yeah.
The spread is -2 for Kansas City. The over-under is 54.
Okay.
They think it's going to be a shootout too.
Yeah.
And I think it's for all the reasons we said. With the secondaries, although they are stout and solid, these offenses are just rigged to generate points. And I just don't think 54 seems right?
Yeah, I agree. A lot of good matchups this week.
And none were affected by COVID, really. COVID kind of stayed away for the playoffs. Like there was no team. We didn't have to worry about a reschedule or a reshuffle. It's kind of nice just having football Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
I want to watch all 4 of these games, like glued to the TV. I feel bad for my wife because she's going to be like, hey, Jack, can you come feed the baby? I'm like, no, I'm just joking. No, Asher watches the games with me. We sat on the couch. I mean, she's asleep, She's so easy, man.
Careful what you expose her to, though. You want her to be a Ravens fan. You don't want her to be anything else. So just be careful what she listens to. That's all.
I was happy that her half team, the Dallas Cowboys, lost because Taylor's family's from Texas, so their team is Dallas fans. The running joke was like, well, the Ravens didn't make it, so Asher has to cheer on the Cowboys in the playoffs. And they were one and done.
She doesn't.
Yeah, she doesn't. But they were one and done like they always are. Like the Cowboys can't get it together, can they?
I'm excited to cover that over on Chi-Town and Charm City. I got to get used to that name and saying it. I'm excited to cover that stuff over on that side. That's going to be a good podcast. We've wrapped up the AFC, dude.
Yeah.
This was a blast.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is going to be 30 minutes or not. And I personally don't give a fuck. Like, that was a great conversation.
Yeah, no, I had a lot of fun. Oh, definitely way over 30, I think.
Oh yeah, it's gotta be.
Yeah.
Editing this is going to be hilarious. I did want to put out some good news. We're getting an RSS for our podcast. So soon we'll be able to be syndicated on places like iTunes and Spotify. So keep a lookout for that. I should be getting that up and running this week. Chad, it was great talking to you. I miss Brad.
Yeah.
I missed him.
Yeah.
You know,
Brad will be back with us when it comes back to the Ravens season.
it's his cantankerous nature that I miss the most.
Yeah. Me and you, we picked Vegas over Cincy. Brad was like, you guys are dumb as fuck. Cincy's gonna win. and then he goes and picks New England to beat the Bills. And we're like, what the hell?
Yeah, what?
What is wrong with you?
Chad, it was good talking to you.
Yeah.
We'll see you for the AFC Championship game coverage. Will it be the Bengals? Will we have to worry about Joe Burrow getting a Super Bowl before Lamar Jackson? I fucking hope not. Is it going to be Josh Allen or the Chiefs who can say that they made a leap or stayed behind? Are we all sleeping on the Titans and they're going to fucking sneak in? We don't know.
We don't know. No.
We don't know. But we're going to pretend like we know, and we're making an argument one way or the other. That's
exactly.
how we're going to go with that one.
Exactly.
All right, brother, man. I will see you later. And to all the listeners at Flock Squawk, thank you so much for your continued patronage and your subscriptions and your words of encouragement. It's been really great. And we will see you off the AFC Championship game. Caw, everybody.
Caw.